Success. Oh my. Okay, cool. I just tweeted, that's where most of the people are. It's Twitter, honestly. Like, I
Yeah.
get, like, it's so crazy. Because, I mean, TikTok is where I get a lot of customers. Like, that's where a lot of people find me. But where I
Uh-huh.
find a lot of people, TikTok. I mean, Twitter. That's where like when I post this on Twitter, like people reposting it, getting like thousands of views, 4,000 views on one of our like promotional assets just from people like liking it and resharing it.
I love Twitter. Twitter is my favorite social media.
Yes. I feel like it's because it's so much easier. Like you don't have to think about it. It's still the place where you can come as you are and just type
Yeah,
some shit, you know?
exactly. And it's not like, I mean, it's a lot more visual based now, but like if you didn't post photos, it still could work. And I
Right.
like that. Especially because I started in digital marketing. Sometimes I feel like um I'm like flooded with digital like images all day long and it's just too much. I'd rather read sometimes. So,
Overstimulating.
yes,
Overstimulating. And like
yes.
Twitter is informative too. Like someone posted like a whole article from Rolling Stone that someone did on Diddy. I mean, we're not here to talk about that, but girl,
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
think the Me Too movement is coming to music?
I hope it does. Personally, I think we need to get these people up out of here because it's one of those things where it's like if a man does something to a woman, it ruins the woman's life and the man just keeps to get living. So I
Right.
don't think at all.
Yes. Or even if he gets repercussions, they don't really stick. Like you can leave one company and then just start your own label somewhere else or something, and then it's like it never happened.
It's like it never happened. Yeah. But I do hope it happens. I think it will, maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. The way that people go to bat for R. Kelly and he's a whole pedophile. I'm
Yeah.
just like, y'all really not gonna give a fuck about someone raping women if you don't care about someone raping children. Like,
Yeah. I'm like, y'all, we got to be more serious. Like, it's okay. It's just a song. Like, they're a bad person.
they're just
It
songs.
is very possible for somebody to be a great artist and be a bad person.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right. Yep. Okay, so I gave my introduction about how I know you, but I would like you to introduce yourself and give us some background about how you got into music, what you do, where you are now, all of the good things.
Okay, all of the things. So hey, I'm Jamila. I have been working in the music industry since 2017 now. And I started working in music as a digital marketing rep at Atlantic. And at Atlantic, I worked Janelle Monae Dirty Computer. That was actually my first project. I worked Raven Lenae's Her Crush EP. I worked Simba from the Bay. I worked Insecure season 5 soundtrack.
I went to high school
Um,
with Simba. We had class together.
and that's my best. Uh, yeah, I worked a whole bunch of stuff at Atlantic. I did Tank. I worked on that little Missy Elliott EP she put out with the braid, like a
Ooh.
lot of different um and a lot of like honestly at Atlantic I became like the RCA, I mean not the RCA, Lord Jesus.
Ah!
The R I became the R&B girl, like any
Right.
R&B that was into Atlantic. I worked like when we signed that deal with Issa Rae to do her label radio. I worked all of the radio artists and soundtracks.
Ooh. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. That sounds
so
fun.
it was very fun and hectic. So yeah, I did all of that, and like just a little bit before that, before I started working at Atlantic, I was writing for thisisrnb.com. So I was like writing articles and reviews and all that kind of stuff. So I always been an R&B girly. Left Atlantic, went to RCA. I worked Victoria, of course. Um, I've also worked Samaria. Um,
How
where
are
else
you
have I
assigned
worked?
your clients at RCA?
Huh?
How are you assigned your clients? Like how do you know which artists you're going to work on?
Honestly, our boss like just gets to know us better, and then she chooses artists based off of like our personal taste and our experience.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I've worked those people. I worked Ruger, who was like this Afrobeats artist out the UK. We had an EP we did with him. Um, yeah, I worked Buddy. Um, love Buddy. I miss him. And
I see
yeah,
him in rap shit. He acting now.
he is. I told him he needs to get in his actor bag. I worked BJ the Chicago Kid. I worked Ro James. I worked a mix of people. So yeah. Uh, honestly, I always forget because I've worked so many artists over the last basically 7 years. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I do. Um, and when I guess I should also say when I was at Atlantic, I was digital, and then when I moved to RCA, I became a PM because I wanted to be more hands-on with all of the departments and not just social media.
A PM,
Um,
which is a project manager, right?
project manager.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got
So
you.
I handle everything from helping, like actually writing out the rollout to helping with the branding, making sure there's a radio plan, a digital plan, an international plan, making sure there's what the videos are going to look like, what the photo shoots are going to look like, um, any events that usually comes through me. So any pop-ups we do usually comes through me. Um, even like helping with getting merch and stuff over the line. That
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Victoria's case, she kind of handles her own merch, but we did the vinyl and the CDs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, every artist's deal is different on merch, but I do all of that.
How is
That
that having an artist like Victoria Monet who went independent and is used to doing things independently and her partnering with your label? Like, what was it like working together?
um, it was honestly, you know, she came to us with all of her ideas kind of mostly laid out. Like she had a general idea of like, I want to do an activation of some sort for each single. She knew what the mood board was for each single. So all we had to do was build upon that and add in opportunities that reflected what her brain and her creative team came up with.
Yeah.
Um,
So she would say, like,
so
I want to do like an in-person activation. And you're like, oh, let's do a 420 pop-up. Like, that's kind of how it goes.
yeah.
Okay.
So like honestly, she is the only artist I've ever like had an artist meeting with when we were doing pitches, where we didn't come up with the deck. She came up with the deck and she gave it to us and was like, "Can y'all do this?" And we were like, "Yes, we can do
See,
this
and
and
you
more."
can tell the difference. Bro, when, because like art, see, that's the thing is that you can just make music. You can be an artist and just make music, but the branding and the marketing hits a lot different if you market and brand yourself. But and I mean, and that's the thing is that labels, it's a partnership. Like people rely too heavily and they want the label to do everything. And I've just worked with people who just shut down every idea that a label has and they don't have any good ideas for themselves. And then when things don't go up, they blame the label. And it's like, well,
And that is a big frustration. It's like whether you're indie or you're signed to a label, you should always be coming up with your own ideas or at least know who you are as an artist because unfortunately we do not have the bandwidth to tell you who you are as an artist for every single artist we work with. We could tell you what your project's about after we listen to it a million times, but I can't tell you who you are as an artist. Only you know that.
Right.
And I think that's what made working with Victoria so easy. I mean, there was some peaks and valleys now, but for the most, working with her was easy because they had a good sense of who Victoria is. And that made it very easy for us to be like, okay, let's do this type of activation. Let's partner with this press publication. Let's do this HBCU tour. Like all these things we were able to put around her because she knew solidly who she was as an artist. And
Right.
honestly, the only artist that I've worked with that is very similar is Janelle Monae. Janelle Monae also. She comes to you with a brand Bible of who she is, what Wonderland is, about.
These are my
I
fonts.
love
These are my
yeah,
colors. These are my yeah.
I love that because honestly, like I love coming up with things from scratch, but being able to like know that you're set in stone and what you want, it just makes my job easier.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. I love that because it's good to know like what is the genius, like what is the difference. And a lot of times something about those Monets, yeah, Janelle Monae and Victoria Monet. It's definitely some about those Monets. But yeah, it's I think artists are always just like they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. They don't know what the expectations are. So when you were talking to me, you had said that her team knew who Victoria was. How did they communicate that to you so that when artists are thinking like, well, I know who I am, but how do I translate that as an artist? I think maybe knowing that might bridge the gap for some people.
The way her team communicated it with us was very much like they gave us, like I said, they gave us a packet, right? So we had that to start with, and then honestly, we all it was officially signed. Um, we all like had a big at Victoria's house. We sat at a table and we just got a whiteboard and started shooting the shit of different ideas we thought we could do for each single and then the album as a whole. And in that one big meeting, we were there for like a while. In that one big meeting, we were able to get all our questions answered and also have a general baseline of who she is, what she wants, and how she wants it to be executed.
Love that.
So that was kind of how we, started and was able to build upon a rollout. And I think that's something that all artists should do, like especially if you sign to a label, like if or a distribution company, whatever. If you have a team that's helping you with marketing and they're giving you money, like sit down with those people and actually talk to them like human beings and not the bank. Because as human beings, we can get a lot more things accomplished than you just saying, I need $5,000 for whatever. Like, okay, $5,000 for what? How can we make it better? How can we amplify it? All of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And that's how you know that you're in a good partnership. Like when you get to the point that you're having meetings with labels, if you talk about marketing and they talk about running ads, run for the door. They don't know what marketing is. Like it's like marketing is like advertising is just a like it's a branch in the marketing like bucket, but it's just like you have to know you have to know what this shit is first to make sure that your business partners and anybody else knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
You definitely have to. So I love that. I love getting to kind of know like what the behind the scenes experience is because even though I have corporate artist management experience, I've never worked for a label. So I'm always like, I work with a lot of labels. I know a lot of label people, but I don't know what it's like working for a label myself. So I'm always curious about like that process.
Yeah. I mean, my like rule of thought is as soon as we get an artist assigned to like soon as I get an artist assigned to myself, I quickly huddle up the internal team and I'm like, okay, we have X, Y, and Z artists. They have this project coming out or this single coming out. Let's all go to lunch, dinner, whatever. Let's get to know each other so we know how to talk to people, so we know like general baseline things. And of course, like if you can't do that, we'll do a call. But in
Right. Yeah.
person's always because you want them to feel like they can trust you and that like you're not just the label person. I mean, sometimes we are going to just be the label person, but I want them to feel like comfortable enough that we're not going to bring them some like horrible idea that we just pulled out the sky. Like I want them to know like, yo, I really do this. I really have great ideas. Please take it into consideration before you say no.
Yeah.
And
So we already did a deep dive into basically the whole On My Mama rollout, but leading, not On My Mama, whole Jaguar 2 rollout, but we didn't dive into On My Mama. So I really want to talk about that with you. Can you tell us kind of like the story and the inspiration behind that song and like the marketing, how that came together, how the rollout and the release came together for that song?
okay, so before question, I'm gonna tell you when we met with Victoria. So that same day that she did the sum cut thing at Soul Bloom was the first day I actually met her and was like told, go talk to her, see what she's like. And I was like, cool, period. So I did that and we started just kind of talking from there. And I mean, maybe a few weeks after Soul Bloom, I heard Jaguar too. It had everything on there except for Cadillac. Um,
It was
and
done already. This been done. Oh my gosh. Wow.
with the exception of Cadillac and a few tweaks on the last few songs, like it was basically done. And I remember hearing On My Mama and telling her, like, that's the one. And she was like, that's the one you like the most? Because it was funny because for context, like during those pitch meetings, for the most part, like I was the only Black person in the room.
Mhm.
So um I and all the
And
execs were,
I
you know,
value the opinion of the only Black person in the room. I'm gonna let everybody on this live know that, like, Black
yeah,
artists, like real ones, they know.
yeah. And so um the execs had others favorite songs, but like we came out of that meeting and I was like, no, All My Mama is your song and we need to do a video with you dancing your ass off. Like I was telling her like, you know, I they put me in this meeting because I'm a fan of you and I want you to know that I think you are like an amazing performer, an amazing artist. You could be an icon, and we just really need to show it because you haven't had that moment in a visual yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I brought that up to her, and she was like, "Okay." And at that time, we were like, she thought she needed a feature on it, and I was like, "I don't know. I don't think you need a feature on it."
Not at
And
all.
so yeah, so we did some playbacks and we with different partners from all the different departments, press, digital, international. Please, ma'am, go over there. Okay. Uh, and we did all of that, and everybody else was also kind of saying, all the Black partners are basically saying like, "On My Mama is the one." So as we started like coming up with ideas, we basically said, you know, we think On My Mama is the one. You should start teasing it as soon as we possibly can. Like even though we don't have a date yet, like let's start teasing it. So the first time she teased it was at that Spotify show where she headlined, and the like last I don't know minute before everybody left, she came
Mm-hmm.
out and she played it, and people started going crazy, taking videos, and that's when we first started seeing people attached to it. That song started circulating around Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. And so while we were promoting Smoke, we were like, okay, let's do a short form day to bank a whole bunch of On My Mama content.
Mm-hmm.
Because also at the same time, the original version, the Charlie Boy version, was kind of having a little viral moment. So we were like,
Yeah.
let's do
The
a
affirmations in the mirror moment.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we started with that and then started like um slowly adding in the short form that we did with the actual song. So That's why I felt like the longest rollout ever for my mama, because we did short form content for TikTok and Instagram in April. And the song came out in like July or August, something like that. Um, oh yeah, we were teasing and teasing the song, and even though we dropped Smoke and we dropped Party Girls, and she had all these other things, everybody was like, "I want that mama song. What's that mama song?"
Okay.
And so, um, after we decided that that was what we were going to do, we were "On My Own" was the only song that didn't come out with a video same day, because we knew we wanted to build up into knew we wanted to build momentum into the album, because we weren't going to have another video for the album.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did was we dropped "On My Mama," and then it was like Juneteenth weekend. So like I took it upon myself to get every place I knew in LA that was having a Juneteenth, have a DJ play "On My Mama." So
Right.
every place had that, and then um also the Drewski video. So this also came at the same time. It was like Juneteenth, Drewski, and then Atlanta Greek picnic with all the frat and sorority people.
Right. Oh
So
my gosh, just the bliggity blackest weekend
I was
ever.
like, we need to have it in every place possible where
Yeah.
there's black people. So we did the Juneteenth circuit in LA. We saw the Drewski video. He actually did not put "On My Mama" on there at first. It was some other song. And we were like, "Oh, we need this." So we
Oh, you
ripped
were like, we want this video to be for,
that.
okay, okay.
We Not my dog eating my shoe, please, ma'am. Um,
Mommy is on,
so
get it together.
exactly. So we ripped the video and we added "On My Mama" to it. She posted it, and then Drewski reposted it because it was like, "Oh, this fits even better than the original song I put on there." And
Period.
so that started going viral. And then we have some like Divine Nine people at RCA, so they started sending the song out to
Find
sorority.
black sorority and fraternities for those who don't
Yeah. So they started sending stuff out themselves, and we kind of just again, it was a combination of organic stuff, people actually using the song, and then also some strolls we saw going viral that we just put the song on top of, because honestly we wanted to create it for them
Yeah.
so that they would so yeah, that's how the digital part of it came. And then we had the outside part, and then after that, we shot the video while all of this was bubbling on socials, because the video wasn't done yet. We
Yeah.
dropped the video. Um, well, we shot the video, and
Who did
we had a
the video?
go
Like
ahead.
the concepts, the outfits, like who did that?
Um, she has a creative director
Okay,
that does everything.
great.
So they came up with the costumes, all of that, and the director for that video was Child. Um, so they worked closely with Child to change the treatment to what they wanted. Because honestly, the first treatment was not what we have now. It was, and I saw it and I told them, I was like, no, this needs to be more hood, more gritty. And they were like, bet. Okay. So they redid
More.
it, and yeah. And we have what we have now. She wanted all the best people. So we had Child, she got Colin Carter, she had Tokyo Styles on hair, Colin Carter on wardrobe, Sean Bankhead on choreography.
Woo.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
Is
top of
she
the
is she like an RCA priority artist? So is she kind of in that zone where like anything that she asks for, they're gonna give her?
yes.
You thought about it for a second. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I love
I
when
mean,
it gets to the point where it's like, don't worry about recoupment. Don't worry about like any of that. Like you have our full support. It's like, okay.
yeah, exactly. And honestly, everybody wants to, like, internally, it was very like, as soon as we heard the music, everybody was like, no, we got to make this pop.
Yeah.
Um, so
So
yes, she
question. Why party girls and not all right? Not like zero shade, zero shade, zero shade. But like I need the tea because everybody like for me, I'm like, we all know K Trinata. Like that's such a major feature. Why would you not have that be a like single leading up to the project?
well, see, we knew people would love that song, and we didn't want to drop every single up-tempo song before the album came out. So, it was always the plan to have All Right be like our next hit after the album, because we wanted to have like an international moment, and we knew it could,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to grow international a little bit more first. And
Really? Does she not do well in like the UK and Germany?
she does, but like there's still, honestly, like, jazz, the UK, good R&B artists on their own, that it's like we got to cut through that, and that's our issue right now. It's not that people don't love her, they definitely do. She had 2 sold-out shows in London, but she's not as big there as she could be yet, and we want to build on that some more.
Which is crazy because a lot of times niche R&B artists blow up there first. Like usually the UK knows and puts people on first, but maybe since she tried to be pop at first and didn't like lean into her R&B bag immediately, maybe they just were like, "Oh, she's a pop artist." I don't know. What do you think it is?
I think it's that. I also think that honestly she just hasn't spent a lot of time there yet. I think, they want people to do their circuit of stuff like BBC Extra and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
what is going on with this dog today?
Oh, someone said, "Do you have any advice for upcoming artists?" That's kind of broad. Let us know what you have advice on. Our general advice, though, is always like know who you are as a person and understand how you want to brand yourself. Because you might not have been on here yet, but Jamila was saying artists that have done the best, like Janelle Monae and Victoria Monet, they know who they are and they bring their own like ideas to the label, and the label pours gasoline on them and makes them go up, like makes, their dreams a reality, and executes their things. Like they might have something generic, like I want to do a pop-up, and then the label is able to like make that come to life. But yeah, everything starts with branding and knowing who you are as an artist. No, it's
We heard
okay.
people. uh
Yeah,
okay.
dog crazy.
So
Totally get it.
dog has been like extra crazy the last couple of days. I might take her to the vet because I'm like, what is going on with you? Uh, so I don't remember what I was saying,
You
but
were talking about all right, because I asked you like
oh
why
yeah,
I wasn't a single before and why
yeah.
Party Girls was.
Oh, but and another part about it was, yeah, it was international, but the other part of it was we wanted to build her radio story because she hadn't had one up until this point, and we
Mhm.
knew On My Mama was going to be the radio song. So we wanted to give all of the space to On My Mama before introducing another up-tempo record that could potentially go to radio.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I
that.
feel that. I feel that. Well, can we get like a video for all right? Like, are we done? Like, is like what? Because now she's gone and she's done tour, and now it's like award show season. Like we're about to step into like awards and Grammys and stuff. So like what can we expect in the future?
Definitely more performances at award shows. That is definitely gonna happen.
Ooh, without saying too much. Okay, okay.
Yeah, like since we're coming back for everything we didn't get this year, so
Right.
um, just watch out for that. She'll definitely be doing more shows. So
If you
um,
missed her on this tour, we have another opportunity to see her. And in
yeah,
major markets like LA, New York, Atlanta, like not just places she missed on tour.
yeah, there will be more dates between solo stuff and festival season because she didn't get to do festival season this year. So um, there will definitely be stuff, performances. Um, I love that you want a video for All Right, so do I. So
Isaac
work.
shouting you out, Jamila.
Yeah. Oh, hi. Um, but yeah, definitely trying to work on that. I'm not saying it's a no. I'm not saying it's a no, but I don't know right now.
Right.
But
It's just like
the
the touring.
yes.
Love to send you some amazing music. Oh. um yeah. It's just kind of like what's next? What do you do? How do you keep like momentum for an artist going between releases?
Um, the momentum between releases is honestly, especially in R&B, is like getting as much performances out as we can,
Hmm.
whether performance content or actual like physical shows.
Yeah.
Um, but also just like appearances, places like artists drop stuff and then disappear, and it's like you can't disappear. Even if we don't have a performance lined up, you should be at these events and in these people's faces. And when I say people, I mean like partners. So press partners, radio partners, all of
When you
that. You
say
should
these events, what are you talking about? Like holiday parties? Like what are you talking about?
um no, I mean you could go to the holiday party, but not holiday party. I mean, like if they're having like if Spotify, for example, has like a Grammy party or something, show up to that. If
Right.
there's a radio like summer jam type thing and you're not on the lineup, but maybe there's an artist on the lineup that can pull you out, like those types of things you should be at, because you need to be in the DJ's faces, you need to be in the DSP's faces, just to remind them like that they're out and about and are willing to do the things that the other artists that just drop and disappear won't.
Yeah. Honestly.
And yeah, so that, and then also staying engaged on socials. That's like the most important out of all of this. Like, yeah, you go outside to events, yeah, you can do performances, but staying engaged on socials, talking to your fans, asking them what they want, sharing snippets of things you're working on. Um, Also like R&B for more on the more developing side, absolutely do covers on like TikTok. Like
Oh my
that's
gosh. Say it louder for the people in the back because they think they're too cool for covers. Oh my God.
yeah, it's never a bad idea to do covers. Never. Like never. Like I see HER, her, she still does covers sometimes. Like if she can do it and she's Grammy nominated, Grammy award winning, then why can't you? Like
Period. Okay, come on. All it does is it like an audience that is already established and likes that artist gets to hear you performing their music and can like you and like the way that you do it. Like how does that hurt?
it doesn't hurt. Covers is always good. Going live is always good. Like even when like I think a good example of somebody that like stays engaged is Ari Lennox, because she'll
Hmm.
be gone a good amount of time, but she'll stay on live and like just talk to her fans and
Right.
she's literally like unserious person ever. So fun to like watch those clips of her going live go viral because it keeps her name out of people's heads even when she's not putting out music.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the most important part between just staying in the front of people's minds, even when you don't have music, whether it's going live, doing all that. Also, I forgot to mention features. Like if you're an artist and you have the ability to do features in between projects, do those.
Right.
Especially with people that are like coming up with you or happen to be popping at the same time and they reach out, bubbling, like features are always a good choice as well.
Yeah.
So,
It just,
um,
you get natural promotion to another person's audience, you know?
yeah,
Usually.
yeah. And in between releases, like album releases, it's always good to drop a few loosies here and there. Like between, Jaguar 1 and Jaguar 2, Victoria dropped FUCK and she dropped Coastin'. Neither of those are on Jaguar 2, but there were songs to keep people intrigued while she was working on the album.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's those all of those things are really important because in days people's attention spans are short, as we know. So, you know,
They'll forget.
whatever you, yeah,
Okay.
even my sometimes. So, like, you gotta drop music. You can't just sit on it forever, even if it's not gonna make the EP or the album or the mixtape, whatever you want to call it. Dropping songs in between just keeps your audience warmed up for something bigger to come.
Exactly. And if it does well, you can always put it on your album and have all of the success of that single count towards your album.
Exactly. Because a good example of that is even like SZA. Like SZA drops random stuff on SoundCloud all the time. Like
Mm-hmm.
while we were for SOS, she dropped like a little 3-pack on SoundCloud. And one of those songs went viral and turned into what is now Shirt. So you just never know.
See? No, for real. And that's the thing too. People sleep on SoundCloud. And I think when I say people, I'm talking more about millennials and Gen Z artists who learn from millennials, which is crazy because Gen Z artists, like you're a part of a different generation. Your people are on SoundCloud, but you are marketing yourself and promoting yourself the way that other millennial artists are. And millennial artists are doing that because they don't know. You know, like they don't know. So it's like, don't copy them. Like they do not know any better. You know better. You know where your people are and where they find music. Like what? It's crazy.
Exactly. And also I think that's a good point in that like as a new artist or even just you're not new but you're trying to like go from point A to point B,
Mm-hmm.
like do it on your audience. That's what the analytics on your socials are for. Like see where they're coming from, see what age they are. Um you could even see like I know there's uh on Instagram? Pretty sure on Instagram. I guess it's on TikTok too. You can see like the time of day they're on socials as well. So like all of that is really helpful. Um yeah. But Victoria was a fun one because, she had her ideas. We built upon it. Like the the 420 thing, I got with my branding girl at RCA and I was like, we need to give out some blunts. Who can we reach out to?
Okay.
And with that and we came up with that 420 event and then um Party Girls was the only one I don't think we did like a real activation for. We wanted to do a Party Girls party but it just didn't happen. But she did end up going to like Everyday People and what's the other party, Donovan's Yard, and playing it there, so that kind of supplemented what we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
um
And what are those for people who don't know? What's Everyday People in Donovan's Yard?
they're both parties that are, I don't think Donovan's Yards travels, but um Everyday People does. They're parties that are geared towards millennials and Gen Z and Black millennials and Gen Z specifically. And they cater to like the creatives of the world. So like depending on where you are, like here, you're gonna find a lot of artists, producers, um, influencers, those types of people at Everyday People Donovan's Yard. In New York, you see like fashion people and makeup people and all of those types of people at Everyday People. And in Atlanta, you'll get a lot of artists. It's an actor town now, so like actors and stuff go to that. So not only is it a fun time, but it's also a good place to like low key network a little bit.
Yeah,
'Cause you never know who you're going to see there.
period. All right, guys. So I want to open the floor. We can take a couple questions. I actually have to wrap up because I actually have a discovery call. I am a business owner, and this was not supposed to go this long, but like more people started coming who had just came here, so I didn't want to like cut it off right at 12. I asked her to give me 15 minutes to wrap it up. But does anybody have any questions before we let Jamila go? Again, she is a marketing lead at RCA. She comes from the digital marketing world, so all of the marketing things, all of the questions. If you're an artist, if you're releasing music, now's the time. Do we have any questions?
So my DMs are always open.
Yes. And like real questions that can help, not just like, I have some music you should listen to. How do y'all see Latin music taking over the world in 2024, especially Brazilian funk?
Mm,
Mm. I
I,
mean, I feel like Latin music is doing really well, but I don't know. I don't really know too much about Brazilian funk myself.
yeah, I don't know much about Brazilian funk, but I think it's safe to say that Latin music is on its way to being one of the top genres in the music industry. It's well on its way. There's so many new artists. There's Peso Pluma and Tokisha, and there's the other girl I saw the other day that I was like, oh, she's huge. Um, yeah, and then of course you got like who uh, I'm calling him Benito, but Bad Bunny, and like all these people, like it's it's on its way up. I think in America it's still hard for it to break. But I think once we get that one like Latin artist that crosses that threshold, it'll probably be like a bad or somebody that gets like that number one, then it's like out of here. But right now, they're climbing for sure.
Mean, yeah, America's slowly getting over their we don't listen to music that doesn't speak English thing and just liking good music.
Yeah, I think
Ah,
Latin Afro beats, Afro pop are kind of having the same trajectory of like really infiltrating the American market. It's just taking a little while because
yeah.
Middle America English. So,
So he says Afrobeats is popping right now. What direction would you say I should push in on the international market? He's an Afro soul artist.
what direction should he push in?
Why?
I don't understand that question fully.
What direction would you say I should push in on the international market? Maybe like where should he market his music? Like maybe if he is doing like targeted marketing in certain demographics, like where, like what performs best? I don't know.
I mean, if you're doing like Afro beats, Afro pop, Afro soul, whatever you want to call it, um, I think you need to target clearly the continent, um, Nigeria and Ghana specifically. Also target London in the UK, target Miami, America, also Atlanta and New York. And DMV area too. There's a lot of Africans in the DMV area. I would start there. Start with East Coast of America because
Yeah.
that's the prime Afrobeats audience, and it'll slowly move over.
Yeah. But she can't tell you how to do like a release plan or a rollout. Like she can't tell you how to push, market, and send submissions and everything. Cause that's like an actual release plan. Like that's like an actual, it's not something she can just tell you in 5 minutes on live. Like it's like thoughtful and you make press releases and it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And last question, do you think it takes a while for indie R&B artists to pop? Question mark.
Yes, it does. R R&B in general is a slow growing genre. Um, and so because of that, you kind of have to just constantly supply the market with music. And I think like as an indie artist, the best course of action is just like drop a single every couple of months. When you feel you got enough singles to make an EP, compile it into an EP, and then make a campaign around that, and perform. Like as an R&B artist, your biggest selling point is your performance.
Woo!
Um,
Say it louder. Say it
yeah,
louder. And that doesn't mean like in a venue at shows. You can do this in your house with a computer or a camera.
like it's not like hip hop where the song just travels because it's a whole bunch of 808s. Like R&B is about R&B fans care about your performance, how well you sing, and if you're not the best singer, at least how well you entertain us with the dancing and the singing together.
Yeah.
So the practice that in your house at event like local venues or whatever, the more you'll get your name out there and get the right eyes on you. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, well, thank you so much, Jamila. Thank you guys to everyone who just joined us. I have to leave. We have been on here for a while. We transitioned from TikTok to Instagram, but I'll definitely do lives on Instagram going forward. This was a lot easier and a lot better. But thank you so
Okay.
much for having me and or for jumping on me having you and being a guest on the show.
Anything for you, Jazz. I love you.
Love you too. All right. Bye, you guys. Have a good one.